Black metal mystery group Blood Abscission have returned for their second album, aptly named 2. Who are Blood Abscission, Mike? That is a question, because does anyone know?
I have no idea. I had a little look. I sort of did a bit of a sort of delve into the internet and see if there was any theories, and didn't really find anything. I think they've done very well at keeping their identity mysterious because I don't think anyone has a clue.
Any rumours? I haven't even
I
looked.
s- I saw one where some people on Reddit thought the drummer might be a guy called Darkside who's in that band. Is it Magla or is it spelled
Oh, yeah,
MGLA, that
yeah,
band?
I know the band. Okay.
Um,
So is it actually a group?
I was think
I was under the impression it was a
yeah,
solo project.
well, maybe it's just him.
I have no idea. No
If
one
it's
knows.
him.
No one knows. No one knows. If you know, let us know in the comments, who
You know
this.
what I was thinking about this. I was thinking the thing with mysterious black metal is you there's a risk, isn't there, of when you find out who's involved, you're like, "Oh, shit, I've been, like, really into some sort of, like, Nazi band for ages."
It's a super group of Nazis.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
Well, look, as we don't know, I think it's safe to say that it's fine to talk about. So,
Ignorance is bliss, isn't it,
ignorance
John?
is bliss. This is their second album, named Two, and
What was the
it's.
first one called, John?
Can you guess?
Oh, bit of a long name, long
Long
titled.
title, yeah, long title. The song names as well also fall into that bracket. You've got what is it? It's 5 track record, 45 minutes long. Each song is named 1 to 5, basically. So that he's not really thinking outside the box in that sense, but I guess it adds into the kind of anonymity and like nothingness of the band, which is kind of cool in a way. But
I think their vibe is to give everyone as little as possible, isn't it?
yeah, yeah, which is fair enough, I guess. Um, let's just jump straight into this, Mike. So this is kind of more falls into the realm of like sort of atmospheric modern black metal, doesn't it? With the kind of layering of sonics, big chords, high leads, rather than a kind of more old school approach.
Yeah. Yeah, very much so. It's, would you use the term black gaze in some of this, John?
I think so. Like, I hate to say it, but like, Deaf Heaven did come to mind. Not that they're like the kind of be all and end all with Black Gaze, but like, I was like, this is kind of what Deaf Heaven would be like if they were kind of good throughout the record. Because I'm gonna just say straight off the bat, I thought this record was pretty exceptional.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I think the Deaf Heaven thing is like it's almost quite an obvious thing to compare it to, but when you listen, especially to kind of the more modern stuff that Deaf Heaven are doing compared to this, it's quite different, isn't it? In that
Yeah,
respect,
I
it's
I guess they're more maybe more songs based, whereas
yeah.
this feels like it's a kind of like a piece of music. And one thing I feel with this record is like you almost have to listen to it from start to finish because it does sort of work as one piece. I don't think this is a record where you can dip in and out of where you'd be like, oh, let me just listen to like track 3 or something. I think it works better in that sense.
I agree, and I mean, I feel like in this day and age of like the whole kind of Spotify thing and all this sort of stuff, it can be quite. For me personally, I find it quite hard to have an album unless I'm doing it for the show, like an album that I will go start to finish. Do you know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
I often will pick my highlight songs, and you move on and things like that. It's that it's sort of your attention span feels quite affected these days in this sort of modern consumption of music, it being so easy. But this album, I think, does really benefit from listening to it from start to finish. It all kind of flows into one another, and what they do well on here as well is even though that's the case, I don't it doesn't feel samey throughout. There's enough interest going on in each song to make it not feel like a drag or like you're listening to one just complete long song that's the same kind of thing all the way through.
Yeah, man, they've nailed it, to be honest. Like, although it is quite,
Mm.
it is, um, it is just one sound, isn't it? It's not like there'll be a section of like I don't know, like a broken down sing section or something. It is pretty much just atmospheric black metal from start to finish, but there is enough variation in the sound and in like tonal shifts of like uplifting versus like dark and oppressive and chaotic that
Yeah,
they they really like flick between the two really well, and it just keeps you on your toes.
yeah, yeah, man. That's the thing that I really like that they do is the changing in moods,
Yeah,
because you'll have like long parts where it is quite uplifting and it's got that kind of black gaze kind of vibe to it. But then they'll shift down and it will go darker. They'll bring in more of like the kind of more traditional second wave black metal tremolo picking parts into it, and done really really well, by the way. Like the way that there's some riffs that they put in there that are like, the more traditional black metal kind of things, but the melody line they'll do within it or something like that will be just so interesting, like really really well done.
yeah, really well done. There's also like there's elements of like other genres of metal that they kind of inject into this atmospheric take on black metal, where I think track one in particular, there was a kind of dual lead line at around like 3 minute 30, and it was quite like old school metalcore in a way, but it was
Okay.
it was done in their take of atmospheric black metal that just sort of it just worked so well, that led into this sort of like darker chord progression, um, and then an introduction of like synth. I mean, track one just kind of had it all for me. I think track one was probably the standout if we were going to break down individual tracks, but it literally showed everything that they have to offer within like a kind of 10-minute track. Was it roughly?
Yeah, they're all kind. I mean, apart from track four, which was more like a kind of an interlude type thing, although be it a long interlude.
It was 4 minutes,
Uh,
wasn't it? 4 minute interlude.
yeah, yeah. But it's that song's not kind of. It feels more like a bridge, like it bridges
Yeah,
tracks 3 and 5.
yeah.
But yeah, in general, they're all a kind of around that sort of 7 to 10 minute mark, aren't they? The proper songs on here as such.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. That song definitely felt like a build up. It was almost like a 4 minute just build up for that last track.
Yeah,
And that last track, man, it was so good.
yeah.
There was so many like subtle shifts. Like we spoke earlier about them kind of going from like uplifting and kind of powerful to kind of more like evil traditional black metal. And I think with like track five, they were able to do that in like quicker bursts because they would have like this uplifting melody, but one of the riffs they kind of bent the riff from like half a step down up back into the kind of main motif, and it just gave this what was once a kind of uplifting take a real like evil undertone, and it was like really quite well done.
Can I mention that actually again? Like that's something I noticed in throughout the album. The What you were just saying about how they go like half a step down, then come back up. They do that on a few of the few. I think in track one they do it on one of the riffs,
Yeah,
and it sort of seems a part of the sound. And it's sort of, you don't really hear that in black metal.
no,
That kind of thing, and I liked it. It felt like they were adding that as like kind of their own little signature thing on that, to put that into their riffs, and I thought that was cool.
yeah. Mike, what was your expectations going into this? Did you know anything about it, or was it kind of did you know what you were going to get?
No, I had no idea. Honestly, I can't remember where I saw it come up, but I'd never heard of them. Didn't know what judging by the art. And actually, when you were talking about different types of metal, I thought it had like a post metal look,
Post metal
and
artwork, isn't it?
actually post metal artwork. And I
Yeah,
thought actually track two had a bit of a post metal vibe as well. It was about the 3 minute mark. It had a bit of an ISIS feel to it, with some of the kind of melodic guitar lines they were doing, and it sort of slowed down into more of like an ISIS kind of beat, like tempo kind of thing.
yeah. The artwork for sure, like, screams post metal. I could imagine like Russian circles or something like that
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
having that kind of artwork. I didn't know what to expect with this. I'd never heard of them before, and putting this on, it was just like I've never been so pleasantly surprised by an album from a band that I've never heard of. Man, like this is up there for me in terms of kind of modern atmospheric black metal. It, I think they've pretty much made an almost perfect record in that sense. Like it's it's 41 minutes, so it doesn't really outstay its welcome. Um, you know, you could imagine a band like this maybe going on for like an hour, and it would maybe drag a bit too much. I think they've just hit that right length of like giving it time to breathe, but hitting you in the face with so much like chaos and greatness. Um, I was just quite blown away, to be fair.
Well, the music as well, the songs suit being long,
Yeah,
and so having just 5 and then one of them obviously being a bit, not quite as traditional of the songs that they were doing, as well, works really, really well. And as you said, they could have easily been like, "Let's do 8 songs,
yeah,
and we're gonna make it an hour and 5 minutes." And as good as it is, I think I would have the only criticism being that
it's too long.
you didn't need to go on that long. So yeah, they've really nailed that. And it maybe smacks of like whoever's involved being experienced in doing albums and stuff like that, to know, even though this is like a very young project, that they know what they're doing, you know?
It has to be, man, because the level of the level of not production, just kind of like refinement in this
Mm.
is quite it's pretty exceptional, man. Like I've never really listened to that band, Magla, but I don't know,
Isn't the
like
singer a full-on Nazi?
is he?
I think that's what I read when I saw it. Oh,
Oh,
hopefully it's
unsure,
not.
unsure. Allegedly,
Apparently,
allegedly,
allegedly. I mean, probably. I bet if we looked into it, we'd find out very quickly. But
yeah. But I
yeah,
mean,
let us know below.
yeah, is he? But the drum, man, if he is the drummer of that band, like what an exceptional drummer, man! Because the drums on
Incredible.
this were unbelievable,
Yeah, his
unbelievable.
um his cymbal work, his like ride work that he does it. It was incredible.
Yeah, track 2 especially. There was a moment towards the end. They sort of they were building up this like atmospheric moment that you kind of touched on with the kind of ISIS sound. It builds up and builds up until around like 5:20, and they like unleash everything into this blast section. Then they like
Is
intro.
that when they pick slide into it?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah,
And then they
yeah, that's fucking amazing. That bit. That's one of the best bits on the album.
Yeah, and then they introduce this like lead line over the top, and the drummer switches up the blast to like the ride, and he hits it on the
Yeah,
bell, and it just changes the whole like. Even though he goes from like blasting on the hi hats to the ride, just that subtle shift onto the kind of cymbal work, like it changes the whole feel of that song. Man, it was unbelievable. To be fair,
yeah, incredible. That bit was a real standout point of the album. Um, in fact, actually, I know you mentioned like you thought track 1 was probably the best. Probably my favorite, and actually, I actually found it hard to pick a favorite because
yeah,
I did
I did
think
as well.
it's an album. It's an album that's an album, isn't it?
Yeah,
Like you enjoy it as an album. But maybe my standout for some of the really cool bits, and it was track 3.
yep,
There was some incredible guitar melodies in that one, like really, really amazing. The song starts off quite clean and melodic. And I remember thinking, oh, is this going to go more down maybe the post kind of route? But then
had that feel,
it
didn't it?
doesn't, you know.
The intro had that feel, didn't it? It was almost like
Yeah,
the picked out kind of chords that do sound quite post rock with those kind of like wrung out chords under it. And
yeah,
I
yeah,
was
yeah.
the same. I was like, oh, maybe this is where it goes a little bit more down that route, but sort of never did because the blasts come back in and they just sort of change back into it. But yeah, really cool, man.
I think the thing with this album, the thing that makes it great for me is just the mixture of the light and dark within it. They do it so well.
Yeah.
Um, it's probably more light than dark, but that is a good thing because when it brings the dark parts in, they really stand out.
Yeah, yeah, it's so true. And it's not to say it's like a happy album, if that makes sense. It's like
No,
it's light and uplifting, but in a very kind of like powerful and not oppressive, but like in your face way. But
There's an
yet
intensity there, isn't there? There's
there
an
isn't it?
intensity and energy to it.
Yeah, there is, man.
And production wise as well, they really nail the whole it's raw enough and it's got enough clarity in there to
Yeah.
hear everything that's going on, and it's got that kind of wall of noise sort of element to it as well, and you don't lose any of the kind of the melody of it and things like that, that's not lost within that either.
No, you can pick everything out. It's like it's modern and well produced enough to be like super clear, but there is a kind of undertone of like rawness to it that kind of keeps everything within that realm of black metal. It's man, I'm really impressed with this record. Like really impressed.
And I find you know, with you, you're quite hit and miss with this sort of modern black metal, aren't you?
Yeah,
I felt listening to this, and I was thinking about what you thought, and I thought, well, I can imagine this hits all the right notes for John in both ways. Like
yeah.
it's got enough of that kind of old school in there as well.
It's true, man. Like this kind of black metal can lean a little bit too much in a kind of shoegaze modern realm, and it loses what I find enjoyable about black metal. But then they knew exactly what they were doing in terms of bringing it back with a kind of darkness. It was it did hit all the right notes, man. And I knew kind of straight off the bat that this would be something that you'd be into as well. It would kind of click those buttons.
Indeed, and it did indeed.
Did indeed. Right. Well, it's a very serious thumbs up all round from Crypt. I think you should definitely check this out immediately, and let us know in the comments if you do. Come back and let us know what you think. We put out videos Wednesday and Friday, kind of reviewing the metal we think you should be listening to. So do subscribe if you want to hear more, and we'll catch you in the next one.